It's about time we finally got to see New Mutants. New Mutants, directed by Joss Boone, starring Maisie Williams as Wolfsbane, Rain Sinclair, Anya Taylor-Joy as Ilyana Rasputin, aka Magic, Colossus' sister, Charlie Heaton as Sam Guthrie, Cannonball, Alice Braga as Dr. Reyes, Blue Hunt as Daniel Moonstar, aka Mirage, Henry Zaga as Roberto de Costa, aka Sunspot, Adam Beats as Danny's father, and Thomas Key as Cannonball's father. This movie has been delayed for quite some time due to reshoots and the pandemic, so when it finally comes out in August, I had to go all the way to the Millbury Theater because that's the only theater in my area that's open. The Showcase North Theater is not open at all. So I had to go all the way to Millbury to see it. And I have to say I did like this movie. I thought it was a pretty good movie. All the actors did a pretty good job except for one actor I didn't like, which I'll get into as I talk a little bit more about this plot. Which is that we have 5 mutants being held in a mental hospital, and they're trying to find out what's going on. They're trying to find out the mystery behind the mental hospital and behind where these monsters are coming from, what's causing the monsters, and everything about the doctor that's keeping him there, Dr. Reyes, played by Alice Braga. Now, I've been wanting to see a lot of these characters on the big screen for quite some time. I like Wolfsbane a lot, who was part of the X-Men team known as X Factor, which was led by Havoc, Cyclops' brother, and Anya Taylor-Joy's character, Magic, who was Colossus' sister. I really wanted to see this character on the big screen for quite some time. And I really wanted to see Cannonball on the big screen, which I did like the fact that Charlie was trying to do a southern accent within the movie, because that's one of the things I didn't like about the X-Men movies, the fact that the actors that should be doing accents for their characters are not doing accents. Like Cale Landers Jones is not doing an Irish accent, even though he plays Banshee in the First Class movie, and that's an Irish character. Should have an Irish accent. Anna Paquin playing Rogue, who is a Southern character, and yet she's not doing a Southern accent. She only does a Southern accent in the first movie for like 5 minutes, and then to the rest of the movie she doesn't do a Southern accent, or is there any of the other movies, so that is annoying. The only character that's supposed to have an accent that does an accent is Nightcrawler, and that actor did the accent very well. Both of the actors that played Nightcrawler did the accent very well, but everybody else that's supposed to have an accent doesn't do the accent, and it just feels like Fox is westernizing the characters and taking out what makes these characters feel like the characters from the comics. Go for the full feel. When we finally got a Russian Colossus in the Deadpool movies, that felt so refreshing, and finally a Colossus that actually feels like Pyotr Rasputin. Great! Versus westernizing Colossus with the American version of his name, Peter Rasputin. That's very annoying that when you do that. Just go full Russian with the character, because that's who he is. He's a Russian mutant. Make the character feel like who he is, because then you're not honoring the fans of these characters. I did like the direction that they went with Wolfsbane, and I did like Anya Taylor-Joy's performance as the character when she was doing the Russian accent. A couple of the other critics said that the accents weren't as good, and I was thinking, well, would you have felt better if they didn't do the accents at all? Because the accents are part of these characters, so the fact that they're trying to do the accents means that they're at least putting some effort into these characters. I do wish that with Moonstar or Mirage that she was a bit more of a braver character. She seemed to be too much scared of her powers, and I wanted her to be more braver, a bit more aggressive with her powers and everything. I think she would have been a much better with her powers and everything. I think she would have been a much better character. She was a bit more braver throughout the movie and less scared. Character I have a problem with is Sunspot. Sunspot is supposed to be Brazilian, and yet you get a white actor to play a Brazilian character. You couldn't find any Hispanic actors to play this character, really? And that's very disappointing that you couldn't get a Hispanic actor to play a Hispanic character. What the heck? But overall, all the actors that they did get did a very good job and did the best they could playing these characters. And my favorite character in the movie was Ileana Magic. I thought she was the best of all the characters. Her and Wolfsbane were my two favorite characters in the movie. And seeing how they were doing the mutant powers within this film, like Wolfsbane transforming into a wolf, and Ileana with her powers, like turning her hand into a sword, that was her power, was very cool. And even though I didn't totally like the actor that was playing Sunspot, I did like how he was using his power, and I thought that Danielle Moonstar did the best she could with what she had, and I did like Anna Beach in the role, even though he didn't get that much screen time. And Dr. Reyes, I thought, was a pretty good character in the movie, although they kept on hinting at another villain that was like somewhere in the shadows. I was thinking, why not just bring this villain out of the shadows and actually have him in the movie? You've hinted at this villain in 2 other movies already, Deadpool 2 and at the end of X-Men Apocalypse. You're hinting at this villain way too often, and it feels like you're just crying wolf for a villain that we're never going to see. Which we're never going to see a Fox version of this villain anyway, because now that the MCU has the rights to these characters, chances are they're going to reboot this entire franchise and get new actors to play these characters. So that is just disappointing that we're never going to see more of this particular continuity or see these actors play these characters again. I thought that Maisie Williams, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Charlie Heaton did a pretty good job with what they were given. So overall, I did like the movie, and I thought that was a pretty good film. I'm going to give this movie a B-. I do think it's worth checking out, but I do think, considering the fact we have a pandemic, that we should wait until it's on streaming or when it comes to Redbox and go see it that way instead of going out to the theater to see it. Even though I had a very good time at my theater, they did a very good job social distancing and everything. When I went to my theater, they had it so a couple seats around me were empty, so the social distancing was done very well. And there weren't that many people at my showing anyway, since I went to an early showing. And the fact that the theater wasn't that full, there were only a couple of other people in the movie in the auditorium, made things feel very well and not as claustrophobic as it could have been. Definitely check this movie out once you're able to rent it, and that's all I gotta say for New Mutants.